Governor Kim Reynolds announced today she is calling legislators back to the Capitol for a special session to address abortion access in the state. Now she's free to introduce a new ban to the state legislature. And Connor O'Neill joins us now in the studio to break down what this session means for Iowans. So Connor, it really seems like the governor is essentially taking this matter of abortion back to square one.
Yeah, Stephanie, the special session Governor Reynolds just called is basically one of the last efforts she and anti-abortion lawmakers have to get abortion restrictions back on the books. And this time around, Reynolds will have a GOP-controlled legislature vote on this new legislation by next week. With Reynolds' announcement on Wednesday, state lawmakers will have to meet on July 11th to look at a new piece of legislation creating new abortion restrictions.
Special sessions are not very common. They're expensive, right? You have to bring in the staff, you have to pay the legislators and their per diems and all of that.
State lawmakers have been out of session since early May and weren't expected to reconvene until next year, and it could cost the state a pretty penny to do so early.
Legislators have other jobs they need to go back to and other work, and they are paid for every day in session, so it costs the taxpayer a lot of money for them to come back into session.
However, Democratic legislators believe the session could take as little as one day.
There'll be a short amount of debate, which again can be limited by the Republican majority, and then we have to vote. And it can be signed into law immediately after that. So
it's a move anti-abortion advocates are grateful for.
We've been waiting for this law to be enforced since 2018 when it was signed into law by Governor Reynolds. And so there's really no time to waste. I mean, this is a life and death situation that we're in.
The U.S. Supreme Court sent the abortion issue back to the states last June, but Reynolds hasn't pushed for a new abortion ban until now because she promised to wait for the Iowa Supreme Court to make a decision about her 2018 ban.
And Connor, will the state legislature vote on anything besides abortion?
Well, not based on what Reynolds said in her announcement on Wednesday, Stephanie. Reynolds doesn't have any plans to vote on other topics in Tuesday's special session outside of abortion. Now, I reached out to Reynolds' office to get more details on what her proposed legislation might look like, but I didn't hear back from her.
All right, and do we have a sense of how likely lawmakers are to pass whatever legislation she puts forth?
Yeah, well, a couple people told me earlier today that they expect that the new legislation could be enacted pretty easily, Steph.
All right, Connor, thank you for all those updates in there. Governor Reynolds releasing this statement with the announcement saying, quote, "The pro-life movement is the most important human rights cause of our time," calling abortion inhumane and promising that lawmakers won't rest, quote, "until the unborn are protected by law." Planned Parenthood North Central States also released a statement saying Governor Reynolds is stoking fear and confusion, quote, "at the expense of Iowans who are simply trying to access essential health care." All right, now with the Iowa Supreme Court's decision last month, abortion is still legal in Iowa up to 20 weeks of pregnancy.